It was just past 8 a.m. when the red Ferrari Spider screeched into the lot of Murphy's auto garage, the morning sun reflecting off its sleek curves. The engine sputtered loudly, coughing with a metallic whine, before dying altogether. A second later, the door flew open, and out stepped a woman in towering heels and an attitude that could melt steel. She stormed toward the open garage bay, waving her designer handbag like a sword. Her sunglasses were oversized, hiding half her face, but her mouth was doing all the heavy lifting. "Who's in charge here?" she barked, eyes darting around until they landed on a teenage boy in grease-streaked overalls, bent under the hood of a dusty Chevy. The boy straightened up slowly, wiping his hands on a rag. He couldn't have been more than 17. Thin but strong. Tall, but still with that uncertain slouch of someone not yet fully grown. He looked at her with a calm, patient gaze, the kind that made her even more furious. "You?" she demanded. "You're the mechanic?" He nodded. "Yes, ma'am. My name's Lucas. Can I help you?" She scoffed, throwing her keys at him. "My car stalled 5 blocks from here, and it's practically brand new. If you so much as scratch it, I'll have your job, your future, and this entire place shut down. Do you understand me?" Lucas caught the keys midair without blinking. "Yes, ma'am," he said simply. Behind him, old Mr. Murphy peeked out from the office window, but didn't intervene. He knew Lucas, knew his story, knew his quiet genius. And somehow, he sensed this moment was one Lucas had to face alone. The woman, her name was Vanessa Carlton, heiress to the Carlton Hotel fortune, tapped her foot impatiently as Lucas opened the hood of her car. She paced, grumbled, pulled out her phone, and started snapping photos of him. "For documentation," she said aloud, not that he had asked. Lucas leaned into the engine, brow furrowing. It was a beautiful piece of machinery, but something in the wiring had gone wrong. A minor issue, really. But the way Vanessa was watching, he could feel the weight of 1,000 judgments pressing down on him. "You know," she said loudly, "when I called my assistant, she said this was the only place within walking distance. I didn't expect it to be this." She looked around with disdain, the cracked pavement, the old coffee machine in the corner, the tired potted plant that hadn't seen water in weeks. Lucas didn't reply. He just worked. That was his strength. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Vanessa crossed her arms, ready to explode again. "How much longer? I have meetings, appointments." "There," Lucas said, stepping back and gently closing the hood. "Try starting it now." She looked at him suspiciously. "That's it." "Yes, ma'am. I rerouted a failing circuit and tightened your ignition relay. Should be good as new." Vanessa rolled her eyes, slid into the driver's seat, and turned the key. The engine purred like a lion freshly fed. She blinked. Once, twice, then frowned, as if trying to decide whether to be impressed or mad that it didn't take longer. "Fine," she said, climbing out. "What do I owe you?" Lucas shrugged. "Nothing. It was a quick fix." She laughed bitterly. "Nothing? That's cute. You expect me to believe that?" Lucas looked her in the eyes. "No charge. Really." She stared at him, not used to people turning down money, especially not boys with oil under their nails and shoes with holes in them. "Why would you do that?" she asked slowly. Lucas hesitated. Then he said, "Because sometimes, people just need help. Doesn't always have to cost something." Vanessa didn't know what to say to that, so she didn't. She snatched her keys, got back in the car, and peeled out of the lot without another word. But Lucas didn't take it personally. He just went back to work. What he didn't know, what no one in that sleepy town could have predicted, was that the moment had been recorded. A woman walking her dog had been live-streaming when Vanessa screamed at the boy. She hadn't stopped recording when Lucas quietly fixed the car. She definitely hadn't stopped when he refused payment. By that evening, the video had gone viral. Teen mechanic stays calm while entitled heiress yells, then leaves her speechless. It had over 7 million views by midnight. People from all over the country, and then the world, started digging into who the boy was. Who was this young man with calloused hands and a heart of gold? They found out he worked at Murphy's garage after school, that he lived with his younger sister, Emma, who had cerebral palsy, that he was trying to save for a used van with a wheelchair lift so he could take her to her doctor's appointments. And just like that, the world fell in love with Lucas. Donations poured in. Celebrities tweeted about him. A talk show host invited him and Emma to New York. Meanwhile, Vanessa Carlton, once untouchable in her socialite circle, found herself under a different spotlight. She released a statement calling her behavior unacceptable. Then she went quiet. But behind the scenes, something inside her had shifted. 3 weeks later, a black Rolls-Royce pulled up outside Murphy's auto garage. Lucas was under a pickup truck, tightening a brake line. When he slid out and stood up, he saw her again. Vanessa Carlton. This time, she wasn't wearing designer heels. Just flats. No sunglasses. Just eyes that looked tired. Real. "I was awful to you," she said quietly. "You didn't deserve that." Lucas didn't say anything. He just waited. She pulled out an envelope and handed it to him. "This is a letter from my family's foundation. We'd like to fund your education. Full scholarship. Any engineering school you want." Lucas blinked, stunned. "Why?" She smiled. "A real one, this time. Because you reminded me of something I'd forgotten. That good people still exist. And that power doesn't come from money. It comes from character." Lucas swallowed hard. "Thank you. And one more thing," she said, stepping aside. Behind her, a brand new van, wheelchair accessible, top of the line, was parked in the sun. A ribbon wrapped across its front. "For your sister," she said. "She deserves to ride in comfort. You both do." Lucas's voice cracked as he said, "You didn't have to do all this." Vanessa shook her head. "No. But sometimes, kindness doesn't have to make sense. It just has to happen." From behind the door, old Mr. Murphy stood watching and wiping a tear from his cheek. And that's how a teenager with grease on his hands and gold in his heart changed the life of a woman who thought she had it all. Not with anger, not with revenge, but with grace. And the world? It never forgot the day a rich woman screamed at a teen mechanic, and he answered not with words, but with kindness that stunned everyone.